can't believe it's been since April or 420, literally, since I did an episode on cannabis. I have not talked about it in a while, but it's time to talk about it because there are a lot of things that are going on. Legalization could very much be on the front line. If you don't know, I host a show called Blunt Business over on cannabisradio.com. I'd love for you to go ahead and check it out for yourselves. Got a lot of listeners there. We talked to a lot of the big major business players in the industry talking about various subjects, so I would absolutely recommend you go ahead and check out them for yourselves. So now, we're going to talk about Amazon investing in the marijuana industry or the cannabis industry. And Amazon's looking to grow. So they're looking at this. Now, why would they go and do this? Well, President Biden, Joe Biden, being the newest president in his administration, in November last year, sparked excitement for cannabis reform in the industry. And once Democrats took control of the Senate in January, there's been more optimism. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer is intent on leading the charge and pushing not just for reform, but the outright federal legalization of cannabis. So there is a law, the CAOA, the Cannabis Advancement and Opportunity Act, which is right now being pushed towards the Senate. The co-writers of the bill are Chuck Schumer, Senator of New York, Senator of New Jersey, Cory Booker, and Warren Wyden of, I think it was Utah. I forget. So that bill is in place, and that would take care of a lot of ramifications when it comes to offering opportunity zones, offering disenfranchised and criminalized and convicted parties of cannabis to be expunged, their records to be expunged, for cannabis to be taken off as a Schedule I drug, and offering states the opportunity to either legalize as a medical or adult use state. So that's where we're at right now. And the cannabis industry has an ally in Amazon. Now, are they only looking to go further than lobbying for legalization, or could they be investing? The Motley Fool reported on this, and they said why it would make sense is because Amazon has already publicly announced they support a different act, the Marijuana Opportunity Reinvestment and Expungement Act. Very similar. And it would support also this act I just told you about, the CAOA. The company is lobbying Congress with $5 million in 2021 right now to push cannabis reform along, according to Business Insider. And Amazon no longer screens job candidates for cannabis when hiring for positions that aren't federally regulated, except for those that if you have to be driving, then you have to go ahead and be regulated by the Department of Transportation. Thus, you can't be on cannabis. You can't be under the influence. So the reasons they might want to favor legalization would be management wants to advance progressive social issues. Pre-employment marijuana testing disproportionately impacts people of color and acts as a barrier to employment. Removing these barriers, they would employ a more diverse workforce while driving positive change. The other reason is that being pro-cannabis would legalize the substance would open up an entirely new industry to dive into and profit from. Because then all these companies would want to use Amazon as a platform to sell. So entering the sector would not only create a growth avenue for Amazon, it would also create more opportunities for people who've been negatively affected by the federal ban. So some of these companies that don't want to be using their own shopping cart sites, they can go to Amazon, have their own page on Amazon, and sell their products that way. And Amazon, with the great work to do with shipping and all, they would have the wherewithal to be able to go and get those products pushed to customers. Maybe even more automatically than other places would. So there's companies that can invest in right now they're already talking about. And investors should know, could Amazon invest? And the Motley Fool claims that given the opportunities, the potential to promote social issues, cannabis does seem like an area that Amazon might target for expansion. With many cannabis companies valued below a few $1 billion, it wouldn't take much for Amazon to buy one outright. As of June 30th, its cash and cash equivalents balance was more than $40 billion. So if they want to buy a company to do that, they could. Much like we're thinking about AMC theaters to be in the entertainment industry. They bought MGM, for movies and television and entertainment in general. I mean, they're not afraid of doing that. Although many states permit cannabis, the drug remains federally illegal. Amazon isn't likely to get involved into the market until that changes because there's too many obstacles. Well, that goes to everybody else. But there's a lot of investment money and a lot of investors that are on the outside looking in. They're waiting and chomping at the bit to jump in. And what you don't know as well is there are a lot of lobbying organizations that are embedded with big tobacco and big alcohol that are putting in money themselves to be a part. And actually, in the last year or so, there have been a number of large lobbying firms and groups that have made their way into Washington, D.C. to try to persuade. Now, they all have been telling me on the business program they're not necessarily, it's nothing of a fiscal nature they're doing. It's more of a conversation they're having. But we all know that at the end of the day, politicians are going to get their pockets filled, so that's what matters to them. And that will persuade them eventually. When the bill gets into play, then we'll know that somebody's getting paid off, and that will actually happen. But it will actually benefit many companies, and many people that want to be in cannabis will be able to go and do so. And more importantly, people that want to consume cannabis will also be able to do so without all the restrictions. And then also, you will have national companies, you will have big corporations get involved in this. It's all going to happen. It's just a matter of when and how it will be. So these are things you want to continue to go and keep in mind. Keep an eye on it because it could very much well happen. We'll worry about that very soon. If Amazon's going to get involved with this, then many other companies are going to do the same. I will leave it there. Come back for another When I'm Not Podcasting. Make sure to go ahead. Check out my website, kingofpodcasts.com, for everything that I do. Look for me on social media at King of Podcasts, wherever you want to look for me, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. It's all around there. And I'll talk to you next time.